Okay, so I just did my taxes, and I got $100 tax refund. And I can't decide whether I should donate it and save the world, or invest it and save for a mansion and a yacht. And I can't decide, so what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to tear it in half, because I hate to have to decide this kind of thing. So I'm just going to rip it in half. This is not a magic trick. And I'm going to put this here in this bucket, and that's going to go to charity. And then this over here, that'll go towards investment, and maybe I can make some more money. But I got to tell you, I hate to have to choose between doing good and making money. And I'm admittedly a little obsessed with this. It's kind of become a lifetime obsession. I'm no martyr. I want to make money. We all want to provide for our families, right? But at the same time, we've got some pretty big, vexing social problems that affect us, in some cases every day, in little ways, and sometimes personally in really big ways. I'm sure some of them have for you, and they have for me as well. I'm talking about hunger, environment, poverty, human rights, disaster, disease. Really big deals that don't seem to be getting better any faster. So I'm going to take 2 minutes and just tell you my story, why I've been so obsessed with this now for about 25 years, actually, so that it can relate to you, so hopefully you can relate to it a little bit. So I was a tree-hugging philosophy major in college. I got out with no prospects for a job, but managed to land a couple, and I learned that business was really good at getting stuff done. So I thought, okay, I'll go to business school, and I'll start a green company when I get out. I'll be that social entrepreneur, although back then that wasn't a thing. But I sold out. And upon graduating, I took a job with Anderson Consulting. Then life kicked me in the face. And on my 4th day with Anderson, August 1995, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And she died 7 months later. She was 54. 8 months after that, my wife's mother's diagnosed. She died when she was 57. How many of you guys have been touched by cancer? I asked that question, and the majority of hands go up. Well, needless to say, the social entrepreneur in me was reawakened. And I started to get involved in causes in little ways, but I didn't go all in until about 2004. And that's when I ran the Chicago Marathon. And I was presented with the option for the first time to raise money for American Cancer Society online, not with the paper pledge form. Now remember, this is 2004, so it was about paper pledge forms back then. And so I thought, wow, so this is the page I created for my mom, in my mom's memory. That's her. And I thought, this is it. At least maybe I can create a company or an organization that helps people raise money for charity. So I took the leap. I traded financial success for life significance. I figured if I'm only going to be on the planet for 50 years, I better get busy doing something significant. I left the fat, cat consulting gig with Anderson, and I became the CEO of Network for Good, a nonprofit at the time, whose mission is to raise more money for charity online. So fast forward, 11 years later, happy to report that we've now spun out Network for Good as a for-profit B Corporation, and we've distributed now $1.25 billion to over 100,000 charities. So thanks, Mom, for the wake-up call. So I've come to believe 3 things. 1, people are inherently generous. We all want to make the world a better place. 2, even so, there's just not enough money going to solving social problems. And 3, the reason is that we're living in a broken binary system. So let me take those in reverse order. Let me talk about the binary, okay? I'm going to break this down. So philanthropy and capitalism are broken. It's like Churchill said of democracy. They're the worst systems on the planet, except for the rest. And there are 2 guys who symbolize what's broken with capitalism and philanthropy for me. Anybody know who these are? You got Milton Friedman on your right, and you got John Rockefeller on your left. All right. Milton Friedman was an exceedingly influential economist in our time who said famously, there is one and only one social responsibility of business, to use its resources to increase its profits. So according to Uncle Milty, an invested dollar has one and only one goal: increase financial shareholder value. Period. Now Rockefeller represents philanthropy. He lived before Friedman, but lived according to the same mantra. He drilled holes in the planets for oil. His company was Standard Oil. Polluted the environment, made a lot of money, and then gave some away. Established a foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation. So these two guys have done a Jedi mind trick on you and me, on all of us. We're operating in this binary paradigm where we have to use investment only to make money, and to do good, we have to give it away. Think about it. We spend on what we need, and then the rest we give or invest, right? So if I had $100, I don't because I just tore it up, but hopefully the kids will take it back together. And if I had that $100 again, I can, after buying groceries and paying rent, I can either invest $100 in hopes of getting financial return, maybe $112 back, $12 back, excuse me, $112, and ignore the damage I do along the way, right? Or I can give my money away, lose no financial return, I lose all my principal, right, aside from the tax deduction, but I hope that I'll do good. Let's call it social return, right? So on the one side, you've got financial return. On the other side, and no social return. And on the other side, you've got social return, no financial return. Another way to think of it is two books on a bookshelf, okay? You've got the white one, and let's say the white one is a book of all the charities on the planet. And the black one is over here, it's a book of all the companies on the planet. The white one's focused on doing good, the black one's focused on making money. Why do I have to choose? Why do I have to choose? Because Uncle Milty said so? Oh, wait. Actually, if you're over here in the black book and you're running a company and you choose to do good over make money, you can get sued by your shareholders. That's a problem. Here's another problem. There's not enough money going to the white book. These books are nowhere near the same size, right? Let's think about it for a second. Where does money come from? Or where does it go? There are three places. Corporations, and this is U.S. numbers, 20 trillion. Government, about 3. Nonprofits, about 1. Well, we just learned that corporations can focus only on creating shareholder value. So then you got government and nonprofits. Well, I live in D.C. I have a front row seat. Government's not very effective these days. Nor is it designed to innovate around social problems. It's about implementing large social proven programs at scale. Philanthropy is supposed to be the venture capital for solving social problems. And so the problem is, if you put government aside and you just look at capitalism and philanthropy, it looks like this. You've got this itty-bitty tiny book focused on doing good and trying to solve some really big problems, like hunger. And then you've got this gigantic, oversized black book focused on really some little problems. Fresher breath, whiter teeth, right? And it gets worse. The black book keeps getting bigger, uniquely. Corporations make a profit. Nonprofits don't. Government doesn't. And on the philanthropy side, sometimes philanthropy can be counterproductive. I'll tell you a little dirty secret about foundations. So here's how a foundation works. I got a big chunk of money. I get to put it in a tax-deferred vehicle if I agree to give 5% away each year in perpetuity. Well, what do you think I'm doing with the 95%, the endowment? Investing it in making money. And if I'm investing in making money, say I invest in Standard Oil, and doing a little damage along the way, how is my 5% that I'm giving away to do charity even going to keep up with the 95% in my endowment that's doing harm, let alone tackle the big social problems it's supposed to be tackling. It's just not a fair fight. So I think we may be guilty of this a little bit too. I mean, most of us probably don't have foundations. I don't. But you're socking away 15% every 2 weeks, right, in your paycheck. What's in your 401k? What's in your mutual fund? Do you know? All right, so we got a problem. It's binary, and there's not enough money going for good. So what's the solution? Well, it's good news. It's you. We're the solution. We care, right? It's just that we've been hypnotized. We're sleepwalking through our investing and our giving, right? We use our head for one and our heart for the other. And there's a lot of brain science and behavioral economics that supports this, right? But the brain science also supports the fact that we are hardwired for empathy. We are empathic beings. We care. So that's really, really good news. Because if we're not going to be the solution, then we're going to have to figure out something else. So, where are we? You probably knew that it was good news. You probably knew that this is not really binary, right? You guys are an informed audience, right? You're generally aware of the fact that Milton Friedman was wrong, that there are now a new generation of things like impact investing, social enterprise, B Corps, SOCAP. Have folks heard of these things? There are some things developing, but you're aware, but are you still kind of treating your investing like sausage? You take your pig with your paycheck, you drop it off, and then you say, don't show me the middle part, just deliver me my annual sausage rate of return, because that looks good, right? And if you're not awake and acting, the generation behind you is, and the stage is set for disruption. Michael Porter teaches his business school students now at Harvard, and Michael Porter, the business strategy guy of the 80s, 90s, he's teaching them not about Porter's 5 forces, but about shared value, corporate shared value. The legal system is changing too. In our nation, just in the past 4 years, we've gone from 0 states that have defined a new type of for-benefit corporation that can do good and make money without getting sued, from 0 states to 27 states in 4 years. And these 27 states have modernized Uncle Milty's misguided mantra, right? That you have to choose between doing good and making money. And they broadened the definition of shareholders beyond the for-profit shareholder to a broader set of stakeholders, the community, employees, customers. So now these companies are not a slave to a single bottom line, but can have double bottom line. They can have 3 and not get sued in the process. So you're the lucky ones, because now we're the first movers, or first followers, if you will. We get to now go to our cocktail parties, our dinner table conversations, our pillow talk. I've been married 21 years. It's very sexy. And we can now explore this new spectrum. Because if we're not going to, I think we might be in trouble. And we might as well just at least be intellectually honest and stop using language like not-for-profit and for-profit, and use words like for-purpose organizations and not-for-purpose companies, right? But if we do want to disrupt this model, then let's go there, right? Because there is a whole spectrum of options, like a rainbow. It's like when Dorothy walks out of her bedroom for the first time and to behold the wonderful colors of Oz, right? From the black and white binary to the wonderful colors of Oz. And it is kind of like a spectrum. So if we go back to our bookshelf, you've got the big little good book and the big black money book. And you can't really see the stories because they're so small right now. You need to get out your magnifying glass. But they're there, and it's a rainbow. And so I'm just going to give you 3 that are my favorites, okay? You can find this on our website. Number 1, shift your gift. Use your head for giving the way you use your head for investing. Think about the difference the organization is making, not just what their overhead expenses are, right? The output, the social return. And treat it like an investment. Make it auto debit. Make it monthly recurring donation. 2, try a gateway drug. Kiva is the gateway drug to social investing. It's a site where you can give $100 to a woman in the Philippines who is trying to start a micro enterprise selling fish in a market, right? And here's the deal. It's not a gift. It's a loan. She's going to pay you back. And what they found in Kiva, and the reason I call it a social, the gateway drug for social investing, is that when you first give on Kiva, the first-time lenders give with their heart. They choose the most compelling appeal, the most compelling picture. Then they start to get their money back, and they go, wait. Their head wakes up. They say, I can make money doing this? I'm going to check out the return rates on these other borrowers. Another example of a debt instrument is called a SIN, ironically. Social Investment Note, SINs, from RSF Social Finance. They're more traditional and conventional, $1,000. They're kind of like a CD, a 3-month CD. They have a low return rate, but 100% repayment rate. And they're invested in unbelievably impactful companies. RSF does all the due diligence, and they're very heartwarming as well. Third, think invest, divest. Invest in companies that do good, divest from companies that do harm. A really easy way to do this is to shift your 401k or mutual fund to one of the Calvert funds, social responsible funds. And at least they have negative screening where they aren't doing any harm. In closing, I need to make amends with Mr. Rockefeller, because the Rockefeller Foundation is actually one of the pioneers in impact investing. I just needed a bad guy. And they're doing great work with Money for Good and breaking the binary, along with organizations like the Social Enterprise Alliance, SOCAP, B Corps, Social Venture Network. And you can too. So let's wake up. Let's break this binary. And let's do more with our money for good. Thank you.